were yesterday with us at the tunnel, but all of you were with me at the model of the Holy Land Hotel. Remember that? You all have the image of the temple there, and then as we are at the south of the temple, we see the valleys meeting to the south. Kidron on the right side, Hinnom on the left side, and in the middle, the Tarapian, the Cheesemakers Valley. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So we have three valleys that meet to the south of the city. So we are now between two of the valleys. On one side we have, look at this deep valley, it's the Kidron. Remember, Temple Mount is that way, up there. And the city of David is at the south of the Temple Mount. Actually, the city of David is
Kidron Valley.
not just a threshing floor, it's the top of the hill called Mount Moriah. And what happened on Mount Moriah?
Binding of Isaac.
The binding of Isaac, not sacrifice, but binding of Isaac. But what is important to remember is that it is a covenant between God and Abraham and the promise to his descendants for the promise of the land, promise of the blessing, everything happened on Mount Moriah. That's essential. So David, who is ruling already in Hebron, moves his capital to Jebus, that would be called Jerusalem, because of the special position of the city between the tribes, not belonging to any of the tribes, which is good when you want to unite the tribes. You look for something neutral. And it happened also, probably God wanted that the holy place was just over the small town called Jebus. Oh, that makes sense. So, what was the size of Jebus? Not too big. It spanned from the top of the hill, the threshing floor, all the way something like 1,000, 1,200 feet to the south. Width even narrower because it was between the Kidron and the Tarapian. Remember the Cheesemakers Valley. Okay, later the city will grow and take the western hill and go to another border that will be the Hinnom Valley. So it's very narrow. I don't know how many acres, not too many, but it is strategic. It is also can be protected well because it has valleys on all sides, and maybe the top of the mountain could be fortified over the time. That will happen later. There was a temple and then a wall around it. So think about that. A good place. David did not capture the city by force, probably because it was too difficult. Deep valleys and ravines all around is difficult. So he used rules. He sent his men to the water pipe. We read that in the Bible, and you know, over the centuries, you know, people who commented the Bible did not know exactly what it meant, the water pipe. What is that? To what pipe? Water? No. Actually, the Canaanites who lived here had a spring at the bottom, but they created a kind of shaft that would lead them straight to the spring without getting out of the wall. That's very clever. But there was not a guard at the other side. So David sent his men to the other side, and they climbed up the shaft and they entered the city. And that's how the city was taken. It doesn't look there's a shedding of blood. The king of the city is called Aravna. And David comes to the king and say, I want you to sell me your threshing floor. And Aravna, no, he's been prisoner, but now he's feeling better. Nobody killed him. And now the winner wants to buy from him. And he says, are you serious? You just conquered my city. You want to buy? It's yours. And David said, no. I want future generation not to say that I took it by force or illegally. I want you to sell me. And all of a sudden, Aravna becomes a merchant. Oh, no, it's so cheap, take it for free. Take it for free, it's so cheap. Guys, people in the street will give you bags or something and say, take it, it's for free. And then if you try to go away, they will run up there. It's so cheap, take it for free. No, I want to pay it. You know, it's only 600 shekels. It's so little, take it for free. That's the way to tell, don't try to argue with me. This is my price. Below that, I don't want money. And David paid the 600 shekels, and he became owner of that threshing floor. He put the Ark of the Covenant there, and the tents, but only his son was able to build the temple. So that makes sense? So for a couple of centuries, the city of David is a narrow city of the Jebusites with a temple on top, and that's it. And then later we have the Assyrian invasion, and then enlarging of the city. We'll talk about that later. But what I wanted to help you understand where we are to the north are the mosques today, but that's where the temple was, and to the south the meeting of all the valleys down here. And we are in the middle, and we have excavations. What are these excavations? We're not sure. We're not sure. If you see a sign there, it's called, can someone there in the back read what is on the sign there?
The large stone structure.
The large stone structure. Very interesting. The large stone structure. I can see it's a large stone structure. So they don't want to say the palace. You know, as archaeologists, you need a little bit more proof to say the palace. Okay, we're talking of the 11th century. That means it's even before David. We are talking of the 10th century BC. So it's Canaanite. It's Canaanite. But where did David live when he took the city? In the palace that we existed before. In the cities that existed. So we don't expect big changes. David was so busy with conquering and fighting and so on, he didn't have time to build. Okay? His son is going to establish a new capital, the capital really, and build and enlarge. He built the temple in 7 years. Do you know that, Solomon? In 7 years he built the temple. And it took 14 years to build his palace. What do you say about that? Of course, when you have 1,000 wives, you need 1,000 rooms. I don't know.
As Tito said,
Just shows.
these are the remains of a large stone structure from the 11th century BC, which makes it 100 years before David, when Jerusalem was Jebus.
He was a man of war, wanted peace so much. His first son, how did he call him? Avshalom, the father of peace. Absalom. You say Avshalom. And the second son he called him Shalomo. Again, Shalom returns all the time in the son of